So I'm going to start.
Yeah, do it.
This is a lot more comfortable.
I would say, no, seriously, though, out of all the things that we've ever done as far as reviews and stuff goes, this is actually the most, I mean, I feel like a schleb, but like, it feels more comfortable. So
it really does. So you and I actually have a lot in common.
You don't say.
Completely
Been
out of the
20
blue.
Years, yeah.
We both watched a movie almost at the same exact time.
Dude, yeah, it was kind of strange when you messaged me.
Yeah.
Literally moments after watching it. And you're like, hey, did you see this yet? Of course, we're talking about the Power Rangers Once and Always special that just debuted on Netflix this past Wednesday. Getting a lot of play on the old YouTube reviews.
Yeah, a lot of people really like it.
And we kind of wanted to give more of like what I would like to think like of an objective, unbiased review, because a lot of the your regular content creators for Ranger reviews, toys, shows.
I didn't mean to zoom in on me, sorry.
I don't care. Like you said, it's about the words, not the face speaking.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're, it's an MMPR special. It's the 30th year anniversary, and everybody and their brother is just giving it high praise. And, granted, there were aspects of it that were good.
Yeah, there really were. I mean, the budget was ridiculous. It looked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the best Mighty Morphin Power Rangers has ever looked.
Yeah, from a cinematography standpoint.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
However, with what was good, there was so much more that was just awful, and nobody is talking about that. So I mean, most of the time we're reviewing Ranger props and helmets and suits and whatever.
There's like 2 or 3 of those coming up soon. So
yeah, we got it, and we got another helmet too here. Ryuso Gold.
Nice.
So
and
cool.
I'm making a foam helmet, which honestly I might put that in there with that one.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's insane what you're doing, and I'm pretty jealous that you have the skill set to do that.
It's incredibly miserable, actually.
Really?
Yeah. I ripped the whole half off because it was uneven. I was like, I can't take it. It was like a millimeter off, and it was driving me crazy.
You rage quit your helmet.
Well, I rage quit it and then restarted it.
Well, yeah, you had to hit it before you could quit it and then restart it.
Gotcha.
I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. So let's dive in, right? Like I want to take a few minutes and let's kind of discuss what we liked the most about it, like what we thought was really, really good in it. You already had mentioned the cinematography, the budget, the camera work, the lighting, all that stuff.
Yeah, it was actually really pretty. Also, seeing the putties actually beat the shit out of people was fun.
Yeah, so that's actually one of the things I'm going to give it praise for. I loved the putty patrollers. Yeah. Actually, I'll take it a step further. I liked the bad guys. Even like the Robo Rita character was cool. Menacing. I think her character design was awesome. The voice actress coming back did a phenomenal job. I really liked the putties. I liked Rita. I liked the monsters and their like newly upscaled looking robot bodies as well. And Alpha. I think Alpha 9, I think they were up to.
Yeah, it was Alpha 9. And it was the voice. That was Zim. I know that was Zim.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
From those characters, from all of the villains and side characters, I think it was fine. It made me feel very nostalgic. I think everybody did their jobs. I felt like they were on par with their voice acting and their mannerisms. I really enjoyed that part of it. I mean, how did you feel about that?
It was legit like watching an old episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, only everyone was wearing skinny jeans now.
Yeah. And they should, and we're going to get to that, but they should not have been wearing skinny jeans. And I don't want to be hateful here, but
they're all like 50 years old.
Yeah, I know, but so we're going to go down here a little bit. We're going to probably bring this back up because that was actually something that bothered me really bad.
Really?
So those were the things that I liked about it. But there's a virtual cornucopia of things that I disliked about it, and I'm going to start with the way that it was written and the inability of the actors and actresses to portray emotion.
No one got better at acting over the last 20 years.
Actually, exponentially worse.
Yeah.
Because
Zach was okay.
That was the only person, but that was the only person. But here's my problem. So the whole story, as you well know, this is spoiler alert, right? So coming up, which I'm sure if you're watching this, you probably already seen that. The whole thing where Trini is killed in the beginning by Robo Rita, and the lack of emotion immediately following this catastrophic thing. Obviously, it shows that they were Rangers all the way into their adult life. And, for her to have, got destroyed in front of the eyes of her best friends, and there was no sign of true angst or emotion coming from that. And it bothered me so much.
Well, yeah, I think a big part of that was the fact that they were wearing the helmets too.
But body language and voice acting, you can say a lot with. So they had like what the Kimberly character, the person in the pink spandex, did drop to her knees.
Yeah.
But that should have been a collective group thing.
I think they were trying to do that when they all looked over the cliff,
It just looked like they stood still looking over a cliff.
Well, that is what they actually did. But I think that's what they were going for.
I don't understand how, like, writing aside, just the inability of these actors and actresses to portray that level of emotion during something that should have been gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
And to further that, a couple of scenes later, or the next scene where you have, Zach and Billy arguing in what looks like Trini's house, which is nice that they have a key to get in automatically. But so they're in Trini's living room, her kids in school, and they're arguing. And that argument scene, from Walter Jones' perspective, was very good.
Yeah. He was good.
I definitely don't feel like even in that scene they portrayed, because this was like on the heels, like hours later, minutes later of like Trini getting blown up by Robo Rita. They should have been in tears, either angry or sad. They should have. I'm telling you, because something happened to you. I've been friends with you for how long? A long time, like close to 20 years, or like
probably. Oh yeah, how long?
Early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Yeah.
So if something happened to you, I would be.
You would tear your helmet off and look over the cliff.
I would
dismay and be like,
dude. But I would literally, like, I would be hurt.
Yeah.
And I would portray that. Like, there's no way that if I heard that one of my absolute best friends on this earth got just obliterated, knowing that I would never see you again or talk to you again or film a review with you again, right? Like, I would be sick.
So, yeah, there was a big limitation there because they were using old voice acting clips,
Sure.
So technically there was only 3 real actors. No, 2. It was just Zach and Billy.
Well, yeah, when you're talking about the original core 5.
Yeah, but, during that scene.
But that doesn't excuse Zach and Billy.
No.
So it's like, I understand that they didn't have the actors and stuff, but I'm just saying, like, they should have, David Yost came on there and he wanted to do something way more gritty and more mature.
Yeah, but it just didn't feel gritty or mature.
Exactly.
It was the same caliber of acting from the old show. There was no.
I honestly think it was better back in the 90s.
It was.
Because they had more energy because of their youthfulness. To me, and I'm going to say this is going to get a lot of bad comments on this, and I hope it doesn't. I hope people just
talk about Billy's facelifts.
Jesus Christ. Well, I guess we'll talk about that too, because that's going to go into the whole skinny jeans talk. It kind of seemed like everybody just cashed it in. They wanted one last paycheck. They mailed in their performances. Nobody has gotten better. Nobody had tried very hard. It seemed like they just came in, barely read their lines, gave them the most empty, unheartfelt deliveries I've ever heard, probably of any Ranger series. Like, if you watch Dino Charge right now, like if you go back, or I'm sorry, Dino Fury, and you look at the dichotomy between, like, the Black Ranger and his dad, or Izzy and her, sexual orientation, and the way that was handled, and the things that you want to talk about, some that's mature subject matter, that is conflict within parents and children, and it was well acted. It was like you could hear and feel emotion. I think that the people in the regular series, from an acting standpoint, blows the original cast out of the water here. And I didn't feel like someone's best friend just died. And furthermore, to make it worse, to make it even worse, that scene where they're arguing, and Min comes home, Trini's daughter, and she walks in and she hears that her mom's dead for the first time.
Yeah, he's like, "Don't tell her."
And then she
don't
walks
tell her
in,
that Trini's dead. And then
she comes in, she furrows her brow, she's like, "Ah," and then she just like storms away. I'm like, your mom just died. You just heard for the first time. Wait, hold on. What do you? No. Like, there's no disbelief. There was no what happened. There was nothing. It was immediate, like, you guys suck. And then she walked away. Yeah. But in no way did I feel like that was an appropriate response from a daughter to hear that your mom just died.
No, it was a pretty lame performance. To be completely honest, I feel cruel saying it, but the girl's not that great of an actress.
She was garbage. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to, I mean, I hate to be cruel. I mean, I guess I know I'm just going to be real here. She was an amazing martial artist, except for her pretend praying mantis. Like I thought that needed a lot of work. Yeah. This whole like, but anyway, but from a martial arts standpoint, from a base martial arts standpoint, she was brilliant. From an acting standpoint, they could not have gotten that more wrong. Like, I mean, she had no emotional depth.
Did they pick her just because she looked similar to Trini? I mean,
I'm sure there was some kind of, prereq in there, right? Yeah. Like, you have to be of this nationality and you have to have this skill set in martial arts, which makes perfect sense. But, this was a big deal for a lot of people. Like a lot of fans have been waiting a long time for this kind of a reunion or the best reunion we could get.
Yeah.
And, to kind of do something as sensitive as Tui Trang, passing and adding that into the episode and then the emotional response to that, I just was very disappointed at the inability of these folks to capture that emotion and portray that properly.
Yeah. I mean, like you mentioned before, I was definitely expecting a way more adult version of Power Rangers, which maybe we'll never get it.
I honestly think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at the reboot that's coming. There's a lot of talks with the new seasons and stuff that are coming up about being a lot. Well, Netflix has it now. It's exclusively on Netflix. So, Netflix takes things and they have a lot more freedom. You know what I mean? So they can bend it a little bit.
Yeah, the only issue with them is even if it's successful, if Netflix, if it's over budget, they might cancel. Like Daredevil. Daredevil was great, and then they decided to get rid of it.
I mean, it's true. From that standpoint, we don't know what the future holds. But for right now, Netflix literally just got
I'll take one good season of a Power Ranger show, of an MMPR show. Like that would be really cool.
I mean, they got the new Cosmic Fury coming out later on this year. We're going to have to see. Well, I mean, in all fairness, this is the first time they're delving into their own unique suits. They're bringing back a lot of cast members. You got Heckle the Dark Ranger that's going to be making a debut,
which is great. It's just that those suits are so goofy to me.
I agree. I don't disagree with that.
The little fake muscles and everything. It's just
I just don't like the color schemes or anything. Like there's something about it. Yeah, it's just not. I don't know. I've never been a fan of capes on suits.
Yeah, but I think they're embracing the whole superhero thing, right?
I get it, but,
that's like they're trying to market off the Marvel deal.
They're using, I guess, from what I understand, they're using the Zord footage from the Q Ranger series, which was like the astrological zodiac symbol, the space theme. So like I just wish they would have adapted those suits over because the Q Ranger suits were gorgeous.
Yeah.
And just amazing. So and they were going to have an Orange Ranger in it and everything. Yeah. I mean, and I digress. We were talking about Once and Always, but I think that Netflix and Hasbro may be pulling together because they know what the fans want, right? The Shattered Grid story and the comic book was massive. And, the comic book is in such a grittier, more adult-esque way that they see that there's a fan base for that. And I think we're going to end up getting that eventually. For this to be the 30th anniversary of MMPR and for it to kind of come back and the actors and actresses that were, oh, yeah, we want this. But to put forth the abysmal effort that they did.
Yeah.
They were going through the motions.
I think I don't know how to explain it. So if you looked at the actual plot of the movie, usually you have your main plot, you have some subplots. Each character goes through a different journey. I mean, come on, like Rocky and what's her name? I always forget her name. Rocky and Kat, like they didn't really contribute much.
No, and same thing with they had Aisha and
they didn't.
Adam.
They were just there to stand.
Which if anybody was, I mean, I don't know. I know that you had Zach come back as the MMPR Black Ranger, but Adam is such a prolific Ranger that it just pained me to see him in such a trivial role. To your point, it was almost like, why are they here?
Yeah, there was almost no point. It was just a cameo.
Yeah. And they never explained to us what SPA was. Because it's like, I'm assuming it's a precursor to SPD. Yeah. Which was a Disney season. But like, they never explained what that was.
But I mean, if like I mentioned before with the plot, there's like a journey for each character. Each character learns something in the end. I don't know what was learned besides the whole generic Trini. Don't be so gung ho and try and going in headstrong. Try to, you know what I'm saying? Like that.
Yeah. I mean,
that was it. Like there was not, everything was going through the motions, the script, characters, the acting. I think that it wasn't necessarily that they were trying to mail it in. I think Yost was trying to hit every point that he felt he was supposed to hit. So there was like no room to go outside of that, They have, a 55-minute movie.
They could have made it. Why was it only 55? They could have made it so much longer and they could have done so much more with it. I think the time frame, because it's on, again, it's Netflix. There was no limitations other than budgetary. So, and I don't really think it was all that
maybe
big
it was
of a
just
budget.
maybe the rest of it was so bad.
They edited it down. They're like, no, this was like 2.5 hours long.
It was going to be a 3-hour epic movie.
They're like 55 minutes is all you guys need. You're not
Yost,
where we need you to be.
Yost had a monologue in the beginning about his, sitting in Cranston. Yeah.
So here's the thing about
Cranston
that too.
Industries or whatever it was.
So here's more gripes about it. It just seemed very self-gratifying to just David Yost. Like, it seemed like the whole story centered around Billy and nobody else. Billy and Trini's daughter, essentially. But then, he took center in the cockpit of the Megazord, and that was kind of weird because...
So, okay, that was his daughter? I watched the whole thing and I didn't even realize it because they had like one conversation at the end.
Wait.
That was supposed to be Billy's daughter?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. What are you talking about?
I thought you said Trini and Billy's daughter.
No, I'm Billy and Trini's daughter. I'm sorry.
What am I saying?
I don't know. Don't know. That was definitely not their daughter together.
Okay. I was just making sure.
Trini's daughter with unknown dad.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, no. No. That would be even weirder.
The plot
would have been even weirder.
It made a lot more sense at the end when they had that little conversation where she kind of forgives Billy for killing. He didn't kill her. But.
The thing, there was 2 scenes with her the daughter that is like Min that just drove me nuts. One, the fact that her mom dove in front of Billy to take the kill shot, sacrificing herself to save her friend. Again, that should have warranted a much bigger emotional response from Billy. But the fact that the daughter was like, "You killed my mom," and it's like, no, your mom killed your mom because she chose to be selfless.
And that was the only thing that actually made sense because it kind of tied into Trini always sticking up for Billy.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. So I mean, that was good.
Yeah.
The other scene that had Min in it that just was like, what? Is like, when you're driving by. And the guy's like, oh, no, they're trying to get my boyfriend. She drove her car straight towards him, hoping. This is how she's saving. This is her brilliant plot to save this guy, is barrel your car directly towards him and just pray to God that he jumps out of the way, leaving only the bad guys to get hit. What a ridiculous plan.
Oh, no, it was ridiculous. That scene didn't even need to be in it.
I agree.
It was only because of the obligatory.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah,
it was kind of forced inclusion. And I mean, and I kind of I did expect it. I expected if David Yost was writing it and stuff, I felt like he was going to do that as a, I thought
Billy, even if Billy turned out to be like a homosexual or something, that would have been.
Spoiler alert, Ray.
What do you mean?
David Yost is gay.
Well, yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. You meant like in the series?
Yeah, in the series, like the character.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. How disappointing was the last scene with the Megazord? I was so fucking pissed.
What about with the CGI?
The crappy CGI.
Yeah.
Exactly on par with the old shitty movie.
Yeah, it was actually very similar to that. You're not wrong. I do like the fact that they used the Zord Ascension Megazord as the model. Like, I don't know if you noticed that or not, but that was actually the Zord Ascension Megazord they used before they turned into CGI. Yeah, it was just the Lightning Collection.
They looked really good. I mean, when they were when they were running along the screen and stuff like that. Yeah, they looked really good. I was like, oh shit, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then he turned into the Megazord and he became like CGI gummy Megazord guy.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of people disliked that in the way that it looked after it got, transformed into the Megazord.
It's the last scene too.
I know. So one of the other things that I did like, and I will say, and this is kind of unfortunate because you're watching this entire special, and we all know that JDF passed away a few months back, and obviously this was to pay honor to Tui Trang, who played Trini. So there was a lot of emotion going into this and how it was going to be handled. But after sitting through 50 minutes of the 55 minutes of just going like, holy crap, I don't buy that any of these people cared anything for Trini. Like, it did not feel like any of them really gave a rat's ass about her. Then they played the old scene from MMPR, like 93, 94, where they actually have Amy Jo Johnson playing the song and all of the actual actors and actresses were around huddled. That was actually the most heart-wrenching piece of that whole thing because it actually felt legit.
Yeah, which was, from 30 years ago.
Well, it was from 30 years ago. And it was before 2 of the 6 passed away. They were there, and it's still like that. That, to me, I would have given up the rest of the 50 minutes to see that 30-second, 45-second clip.
Yeah.
I felt like that was all the honor it needed based off of just an emotional factor.
I wouldn't have, thinking about it, like scenes like that, and maybe even just, I know that there has to be a huge collection of behind the scenes. Like, I'd rather there be almost a documentary rather than this.
Oh, 100%. Again, it felt like David Yost wrote it and directed it just for himself to feel better about the horrible treatment that he got.
It's weird that you say that, because I was watching and I'm like, Billy's barely in this. I didn't think he was in it that much.
Oh, I thought he was in it way too much.
Really?
Way too much. I felt like a lot of it was centered around him. It was more or less, it was obviously him, Zach, and Min, the three. But Billy was a lot of FaceTime in it. He was a lot of the plot devices centered around Billy. His acting is deplorable.
It is.
It
really
was deplorable.
Bad.
It was beyond bad. It was like, I can't think of a worse actor.
That's so mean.
I don't care. I can't. I can't think of a worse actor. I can't.
I mean, you can back in
name one.
Disney Channel era, just the entire cast of Wizards of Waverly Place or something. I don't even know,
dude. I
take that back.
Yeah, who's the girl?
Selena Gomez.
Yeah, you're gonna really. Selena Gomez is great.
Yeah,
I like her anyway.
Ah, man, what is a really horrible old Disney Channel originals? Maybe
I don't know, but here's the thing.
Oh, that kid, the kid from 13th Year. Do you know what 13th Year is?
No.
Worst actor.
It can't be.
You guys are hilarious. Can you close the door on the way out?
It cannot be any worse than the lack of emotion that David Yost portrayed. It was like the most empty husk of a human being. He had no facial expressions. I don't know if it was because of his surgery or his inability to act. He had no facial expressions, no range of emotion from his voice. He didn't even sound like Billy. He wasn't like affirmative and all this stuff. Like, he didn't say.
He said affirmative once.
Did he?
Yeah.
He didn't sound.
He didn't
like
wear
Billy.
glasses. He didn't wear glasses.
He was.
Is
that why he was squinting the whole time?
Oh, no.
Or was that maybe just his? I don't know. I don't mean to sound hateful, but it seemed like it wasn't a 30th special about Power Rangers. It felt like it was the the Billy Cranston comeback special where he finally gets a feel good moment because of how poorly he was treated back in the 90s, which again is a horrible thing. But I don't think that the show was fairly written or acted. I mean, it was very poorly acted by everybody involved.
Yeah, it was. I don't quite agree with the Billy stuff. I mean, to a certain extent, I really thought he was barely in it. I don't know. I didn't think he was in it that much. It might be.
You
I don't know.
Go back and rewatch it.
Damn it! I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't either. I won't. But
I'm trying to.
They were the only three characters really in it, with the exception of a couple of brief.
They were trying
moments here and there, but they were. It was literally, Walter Jones, David Yost, and then the young lady who played Min. That was primarily the people that were in it. Which
I thought it was really heavy on the Min and Zach thing, because they were trying to portray the whole father daughter.
Yeah.
But
in all fairness, I don't think this should have even been made.
Yeah.
If David Yost could not get Austin St. John and Amy Jo Johnson to be in it, I think he should have put off making this until he could either come to an agreement with them. But the fact that it was supposed to be a reunion special, but it was more of a ragtag makeshift version. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it was like
Rocky, though.
If it was Rocky, Adam, and Aisha with, David Yost and Kat, that would make sense, because that was actually a core team at one time.
Yeah.
But you had like this mishmash of some from season 1, some from season 3 or 2, and it was kind of all over the place. Do you think Rocky's like, I'll do it if I can make jokes? Because some of those jokes just did not land. Dude, no, they were awful.
What did he say?
His line delivery.
His last one was like, Alpha threw my noodles away.
Yeah, like,
and
what?
It's like he saw it on Alpha's like face dial. It's like okay,
again,
he doesn't get it.
Again, like Trini just dies. They pull the other team,
but he threw not Rocky's noodles away. No, so that's a big deal.
Yeah. But again, it's the level of emotion, right? Because it was like this ranger just died, got obliterated. Yeah. They suck in these other rangers because the other rangers got shrunk down. So they have to put in these other people. And, Rocky shows up eating a bowl of ramen. And then he's like, oh, my noodle. It's like, dude,
now he's a fat fireman and not a Power Ranger.
None of them should have been wearing the clothes they were wearing. Not a single one of them.
They tried to make up for it. They made Rocky tuck the front of his shirt in.
They should have not. I'm sorry, but you know what I mean? It's like these guys, none of them looked like they were Ranger ready.
Walter looked good. He looked good. Black Ranger.
You can watch it again.
Really?
Just go watch it again. Because I thought so too for a minute. And I'm like, nope. Here's that gut sticking out. So it's like, it's like they had time to get ready for this.
Yeah.
It's like they just didn't care. I feel like nobody involved cared. I felt like there was no heart involved in this entire thing except for Robo Rita's voice actress.
Oh, well, she always does a good job.
But that was the only person that I felt went back into this going like, hell yeah, we're going to do a reunion and I'm going to do this right. Everybody else mailed it in from every aspect. They didn't get it. They didn't get in shape. They didn't get better at acting. They didn't try to portray the level of emotion that they should have for the subject matter. It was just really bad. It was pretty awful.
It was pretty bad. I mean, I remember watching. I made my wife watch it with me. I'm sure you made your wife watch it with you.
No, she came in partial.
Oh, she didn't watch it?
Not the whole thing.
Oh.
Maybe like the last half of it, but she was like, what the fuck?
She watched it.
She's like, no, what is going on? And I make her watch every season.
Yeah.
So for her to sit there and be like, this is even worse than normal, because obviously we're not oblivious. We all know that the Power Ranger seasons aren't winning any awards, right?
Yeah.
So, but for her to sit there and be like, wow, this is even way worse than what you make me watch most of the time.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. Oh, wow. It was hard to get through.
I was so happy because I was like, hey man, did you see it yet? Remember, I texted you and I was like, shit, I better not shit on it too much because what if
I actually loved it?
What if Josh is like, oh my god, it changed my life?
Hold on a second. Let's go back in time here. We're gonna go back to the actual text message and see if I can't. 7:49 on Wednesday. Have you watched Once and Always yet? I said just finished with a throw up emoji. That was my reaction. The acting alone. Yeah. So I mean, it's like.
Yeah.
We just kept kind of going back and forth pretty much about what and again, like I even said there, like I liked Rita, Alpha, and the Putties. Like, so like, we were already talking about some of these points then, but it just felt like David Yost was more or less stroking his own ego. I think they could have casted Trini's daughter differently or better, or at least worked on her. Prior to it felt like everything was done in one take, and they're like, yeah, good enough. Put it together.
I mean, that might be exactly what it was.
But that's for a 30th anniversry where you're tackling the subject matter of Trini dying. It's just,
I really think they were just trying to hit their points. So like, we have to do this, and this. We have to make references here, and here, and then it's done.
Yeah, I don't know. And then we go online, right? And I'm looking for unbiasedness. I just want to be fair.
Well, that's okay. I found a review online first. I didn't even know it was out because I didn't, like. I'm going through this stage where I'm trying not to clutter my brain with like early reviews.
Yeah,
and
like
stuff
bias.
Like that. Yeah,
like you don't want bias. You want to see it and like judge for yourself.
And this guy, he just had this amazed look on his face. I'm like, all right, you know what? He's like, spoiler alert. They always say that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to stop it here. And then I went and I watched it. And I left it up on my computer. I just left it up on my computer. As soon as that was done, I watched the review and it was just like praising it to high heaven, how great
that's
it was.
everybody.
And it's just, I don't get it. Objectively, poorly written, poorly directed, poorly acted. Objectively, there's no, I can't even be subjective about it. I can't be like, his performance had some nuance. Like there was no nuance.
No, there was nothing. It's devoid of all emotion.
Yeah.
Outside of them furrowing their brow or, like pretending. But it looked like they were pretending. It looked like they were acting. It did not feel...
It felt like a fan film. It felt like a Power Ranger fan film.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Not a very good one, but they have a budget.
Again, it sucks because it was beautiful.
Yeah,
the bad guys were on point.
Yeah.
The Trini sacrificing herself to save Billy was perfect.
Yeah.
But from her getting just disintegrated forward, it lacked all heart, all emotion. I did not feel for a second that anybody lost their mom or their best friend. I just felt like it was a husk, and I was watching some old people pretend to be what they were and get paid one last time.
I mean, that's not the last time any of those people will be those characters.
Well, I fucking hope it is.
It's not.
I truly hope it is, because
especially after that and after the praise it's getting.
They need to leave well enough alone and just stop, because unless they are going to go to acting school and become and actually try go find your emotional range. And if your emotional range is a Power Ranger actor and that's all that it is, then stick with a normal Power Ranger series. Don't try to have your acting ability be here as a Power Ranger and then try to like not get better at acting but cover a deeper emotional spectrum through your story. It just it will not translate.
Yeah, it really didn't work.
Write mature, get the subject matter you want, but then learn to properly express those emotions so it administers an emotional response from the audience. The only thing I felt was, wow, what a bunch of assholes, because none of them cared. None of them cared about Trini. Oh, that's God, true. She's dead.
Well, they all had their own stuff going on.
Oh, how are you going to tell her daughter that her mom died? What do you mean my mom's dead? I don't think she even said that. I think she's like, I'm going to my room. It's like, no, dude. People would be, I'm telling you what. If my best friend just died, my immediate response would be to throw up.
I bet you she went right to her room and listened to Alanis Morissette.
It's like, Rain. No, I would literally throw. I mean, I always think that that's like the best reaction. Like if you're watching a horror movie.
Listening to Alanis Morissette.
That's it. Yeah. Isn't it ironic? But like, I always wonder, like, what would I do? Right? If I saw someone die in front of me, what would I do? And I think your immediate response would to be go into shock or throw up.
Yeah.
Or just start hyperventilating and crying. Like, there's nothing wrong with those emotional responses, but it definitely wouldn't be just to stand there blankly, and then the next scene, like minutes later, nobody has tears in their eyes. Nobody is feeling sorry. And it goes right into
But everyone looked real uncomfortable in their skinny jeans, though.
Well, I mean, I would hope so. I mean, they were all like their guts were all hanging out. Just listen, either it's one of two things. It has to be one of two things. Yeah. Either get in shape for the role, if that's how you're going to dress, or just wear clothes that are conducive to your person and dress in your age group.
That's the only thing I asked. They did dress very young,
and that's okay if you're in the shape to do that.
Yeah, but they weren't. Like, I mean,
that's right. They weren't. That's exactly that was my point.
Rocky could have wore a jacket.
He needed to. I'm not trying to be hateful, but at the same time, it's like, do not do something as perceivably big as this, and not put forth any effort. And that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
They just didn't try. They just came in off the street from like some convention. They were just like, yeah, okay, hit roll camera, and then they all did everything in one take, and then they're like, yeah, perfect enough, and then that was the end of it.
I don't know. It just gives off the vibe of someone put in a role with a lot of money who doesn't know how to make a normal movie.
Yeah.
Speaking of visual, how did you feel about all the Rangers wearing their hero collars with their helmets?
Oh, their neck braces.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if that was intentional. I really don't even know if that was intentional.
What do you mean?
So a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that was like a throwback nod to the 90s. I honestly don't know if it is. I wonder if it was just I think this is just what the costumes look like.
I think they made them the bodysuit, and then they're like, all right, time to be Power Rangers, put on your helmet. I don't think it was anything like... Yeah, that's all it was. It was.
Yeah, just, I mean, I don't really...
The suits looked really good. Did you notice a little detailing on the cuffs?
No.
They had like a pattern on them, like imprinted.
Oh, seriously? Yeah. So it wasn't just the regular triangles? How did I miss that?
It was more three-dimensional, and on each cuff, I don't want to say a hexagon, but there was like a weird pattern on them.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that.
They looked really good. The suits looked really good. It's just the hero collars were weird.
The one thing that they did miss, I think that because like obviously Jason David Frank couldn't be in there.
Yeah.
But when they were doing whoever the stunt person in the green suit was.
Yeah.
I think the shield should have been that flimsy gold one.
Oh yeah, if
you're gonna throw if you're gonna throw like a throwback to the old series with the hero collars, give him the flimsy gold shield.
They should have. As much as I like the Green Ranger, they should have used the White Ranger.
I mean, it makes the most sense. The Green Ranger powers assume was lost forever, right?
And and I guess Kat had a kid with Tommy.
Oh, that's been part of the show for a long time. I think they covered that in Turbo.
You remember when all the action figures? I'm going to call them action figures.
That's what they were. They were Lightning Collection figures.
The action figures were on the little shelf thing or whatever. And she's like, "Oh, Tommy, what happened to you?" And I was like, "This is fucking weird. Like, that's your husband and you have a kid with him?"
Oh, Tommy, you got yourself in another predicament. Like, not knowing that he would ever come back. By the way, they never showed those Rangers come back to normal size.
No, they didn't. Were there any other JDF Rangers in those shelves?
Nope. No. Okay. I watched for that.
Yeah, I was wondering.
They had Dino Thunder red and white.
Yeah, I saw
but white. They didn't have black. Okay. So I was like, okay.
Because when I saw the white, I thought, because It's so quick.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, is it the White Ranger? Like, why
That'd
the
be
hell would
weird.
they?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
But did they ever get back to normal?
Who knows?
And then if they did get back to normal,
Yeah.
so again, it goes back to, in my opinion, the whole thing felt rushed. If I was Netflix and David Yost and Hasbro, I would have just made a better effort to really get the original cast, as much of the original cast that you could.
Yeah.
I don't think they tried hard enough, because Austin St. John just returned a couple of seasons ago for Beast Morphers.
I thought it was weird. I thought he was going to just show up. I thought he was going to be in the background.
And then
or
Amy
something.
Jo Johnson, okay. So they had her in the series.
Yeah.
They had her in the special from a clip perspective. But it's like, they couldn't have gotten her. Like, what is she doing? She's not doing anything. Getting drunk and having rants online. That's about all I know that she does.
I've never watched any of her. You watch like YouTube stuff?
I've seen a couple of things where I was like, maybe don't film that and put that online. But like, but the point is, like, she's not doing a lot. She could have done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's some big deal for some of these people with these egos. It's like, come on. And then I guess there was like a back and forth thing too, where I saw something where maybe they didn't approach her. But I'm like, really? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Like they got Walter Jones, David Yost, they got everybody.
Yeah, because the Pink Ranger is kind of iconic.
Yeah.
You need, like, she is the Pink Ranger.
Yeah.
Cat is, the other one.
I liked Cat. From my perspective, I was a Catherine fan more than I was an Amy Jo Johnson fan. But, it's at the end of the day, like, I just felt like they could have not with this. I don't feel like it was good enough to warrant a 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a Frankenstein mess. And I feel like, there were certain aspects of it that were really good. But it was not enough to warrant the high praise that it's getting. I just think that fans are too easily impressed.
It is at most average.
Can't even agree with that.
I'm saying at most.
Yeah. I'm going to use Time Force, for example.
Yeah.
So Time Force is
Time Force is really good.
One of the best seasons I've ever seen. It's one of the best seasons I feel ever made, alongside RPM, right? You want to talk about like a darker subject matter with better emotional depth. Go watch when Jen Scott's boyfriend, the Time Force Red Ranger in the original, go watch when he dies and her reaction and how she carries that burden with her through the series. She was heartbroken. She portrayed heartbreak. She kept heartbreak until she was able to heal through Wes. But, this stuff does happen in Power Rangers. The emotional depth happens in Power Rangers. It just, they lost, in my opinion, the right cast wasn't made. And the Rangers that could have brought that heart to the screen weren't in it.
Yeah.
I think that JDF not being in there, obviously, because this whole thing was filmed before he passed away anyway. So the fact that he wasn't even in it, like, I mean, I know that he said he would never do it again. There were some talks about that. But again, he is like the best actor out of that core group. I mean, maybe Walter Jones and him. I'd give those two.
Yeah.
And I know Amy Jo Johnson's done a lot of other things. But again, like, without
Susie Q.
And Felicity, like, she was in like other.
Oh, was
things.
she?
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen Felicity.
So Amy Jo Johnson probably has the most robust acting career out of all of them. Walter Jones probably second.
Backyard Dogs.
Yeah, I mean, that shit.
Backyard Dogs.
That should have got. We just watched that. Remember on Tubi?
That was so bad.
And then of course JDF. Like, those three out of the original six. I mean, they had the biggest emotional range. Billy never had emotional range even in the original show.
Yeah.
But he at least had this like young innocence about him.
He was he always seemed like awkward. So
it made sense.
That worked for him, the awkwardness.
But as like a 60-year-old man, I'm assuming he's 60. You have to look that up too. I'm just saying stuff that's not even facts at this point. But as an old man, like he didn't get any better. He didn't get a single.
I don't know I don't think he's really done anything.
It's very evident. I would believe that. I would if you told me that he has not done anything since like 95, 96, whenever his last episode was. Right? If you said like, David Yost has never done anything, I'd be like, I totally buy that.
Yeah, I really can't think of a. Oh, my phone's over there. Yeah. Look up. See, just look up.
You're right.
His IMDb.
We have the internet. Why are we guessing?
Like, not even a commercial, I don't think.
Well, we're about to find out. So he has been in all Power Rangers. He was in something called The Order, Scene of a Crime in 1996. Alien Hunter in 2003. Degenerate. I don't know what this is. Degenerate is a movie. It got a 6.7 and it's a 2012 series or a 2012 movie. So he did something in 2003, 2012. But outside of that, everything else was in the Power Rangers.
Oh, wow.
Like he very, very little amount of work here. 2000.
What about production stuff like writing and stuff like that? Did he do anything there? To put so much faith in someone with such little experience from a production standpoint just seems like a really bad move.
So he actually does have some producing credits. Jefferson Starship in 2011, it was a TV special. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, 2010 to 2011. You Are What You Eat in 2004.
Are these all reality stuff?
Oh, he was a producer for Alien Hunter. He was a producer for Temptation Island. So he did a bunch of crap.
But they're all reality shows.
Yeah, they're crap. Like if you look at it, it's either reality shows or B-list movies. Like, and again, like
he did he acted in those.
Produced.
He produced.
He produced those. Yeah, he wasn't an actor in them apparently. So here's my thing. I feel awful for what happened to him, and nobody should ever have to go through what he went through in his young years in the Power Rangers thing. I get wanting to come back for retribution. I get wanting to come back to have a high note in your career. But I just feel like he did a really shit job of really trying to do what he wanted to do. He wanted a mature Power Rangers.
It just didn't hit any of those. It didn't hit any of those marks. It wasn't mature at all. Like
he should have had more help, and he needed to work on his range as far as an actor goes. And then it probably would have been okay. But
I honestly feel like with the same script and better direction, I think the movie, I keep calling it a show, it just would have been way more tolerable.
Oh yeah,
but there was no direction. I kind of get that feeling, like you mentioned.
Well, I mean, it was just one steam. It was like one direction, full steam ahead. There's a lot of things that happened that were unnecessary. They could have been a lot more vetted, a lot more flushed out, a lot more robust of a story. But a mini
series, let's say 45 minutes an episode, maybe about 6 episodes long.
Yeah, I would.
6 episodes long.
Totally.
A good, almost like a BBC length, one season done.
That's
like, just tell the stories, maybe get a little bit deeper with Min. Like, what were her struggles? You know, her mom just died, all this other shit. She lives with Zach. To have her be teased at school for some random reason.
I mean,
you know, like, it's just,
to me, I don't think it, I mean, granted, but that would have just put another feather in the cap of like, oh, here's your typical explanation. It's like, this kid's already got her mom's got, now she's being bullied, and I don't know. I just feel like they had more.
She just needs, like, there was nothing about her. Like, I don't know who she is.
No, you don't know what her backstory was, what happened to her dad. You don't know.
She's just a girl that does katas in her backyard, and then like,
yeah, she knows martial arts, and she's Trini's daughter. Yeah. That's all we knew about her. Again, no character development. It goes back to the whole.
That was a nice backyard, though. I always wanted a backyard like that.
I do like that they added both of their last names to the mailbox as opposed to just having the numbers on.
That was nice. That was a nice touch.
Yeah, Zach lives here now.
I just want a Wing Chun dummy in my backyard.
I mean, I'll make you one.
You can make it?
Come on. It's a log with sticks pointing out. Like, I just never understood those. I never understood those.
I just think they're cool.
It's just, I'm like, whatever. But in all fairness, but yeah, I mean, again, like, I don't want to piss anybody off by saying this, but you have to look at things for what they are. And, you know, if you found value in that and you really were completely floored by how great it was, then, you know, good for you. I'm glad you were able to watch it as such. But being a kid of the 80s and growing up with the Rangers when they first came out, like, I am telling you, as I have matured through my adult life and as I can see things, like, I'm telling you from an objective standpoint, this had a lot of problems, fundamental problems.
I mean, let alone, and not just as a Power Ranger.
No, dude, if this could have been anything.
Yeah, as a film in general. Yeah,
you can't try to sell emotion without emotional depth and acting, the ability to act, and the fact that there was no emotional depth to any of this, and I felt like nobody gave a shit. The most emotional thing was the end with Amy Jo Johnson's song, where they actually showed Trini and Jason David Frank. That was actually probably the hardest thing to watch, but at the same time, I was so desensitized by the last 50 minutes of bad acting and lack of emotion that it didn't make up for it. It just didn't make up for it. Although I do like the fact that it said in loving memory of JDF as well as Twee Trang. So
yeah,
that was kind of nice. I mean, there were things about it that were really nice.
Yeah.
And the new metal version of the Power Rangers song. I mean, the actual soundtrack was awesome. I liked that. But it's just, the Rangers, in my opinion, like the Ranger actors, all of them did a pretty deplorable job.
They did.
I'm sorry. I mean, I love the Power Rangers. I do. I mean, I got Ranger tattoos all over me, but it's at the same time, like, I'm not stupid either.
No, I think everyone is equally responsible for how not up to par the movie is. Mm-hmm. I mean, you mentioned the acting a lot, but I think it's everything. It's absolutely everything. It's just, I just remember rolling my eyes at it so many times because I watched like the first 10 minutes. You know, when they're fighting on, where the hell were they? They were like in New Zealand. Okay,
it's always New Zealand.
Yeah, so
I mean, it might have been. I'm sure it was. And you mean on the field with the putties and like the first fight scene? Yeah.
This is gonna sound messed up, but Trini got blown up and they all looked off the cliff, and I'm just like, I just remember rolling my eyes like, oh man, I hope the rest of this isn't like this.
Yeah, no, they lost me as soon as that happened. Their immediate reaction to her getting blown up, and then Rita going like, well, I'm fucking out. And I'm like, you just killed a Ranger. You don't want to finish off the rest of them?
You remember like Time Force, like their shattered helmets?
Oh my god, battle damage? You mean battle damage where they look like they're dying?
Yeah, like there's none of that. They just have these perfectly pristine helmets.
Yep. No. So guys, listen, just go watch the Sentai version of everything. Like emotion, death, blood, dirty suits.
And it's goofy. And
it's goofy at times.
It's goofy, and like when it's goofy, it's like, fuck yeah, we're being goofy. Yeah, like we're not trying to be emotional and not pulling it off.
When they're trying to be emotional, it's portrayed proper. Yeah. All I know is if my best friend died, I would throw up and I would be in mad hysterics. I just picture them throwing up in the helmet. Oh. Well, no, they could have taken it off and then thrown up. But I mean, I'm dead serious, right? Like, ask yourselves. Like, after you watch this, and you go, man, these guys are assholes now. I really liked their suit reviews, but Jesus Christ. But no, seriously, look in a mirror and ask yourself, if your best friend died, or if your mom died, how would you react? How would you react? You know, what kind of emotion would you display? How mad would you be, or how sad would you be, or would you be in hysterics? Would you throw up? Would you be in shock? How would you react? And then say, was that how you felt when you watched that? Did you feel that emotion of loss when you were watching that episode? And you know,
I just picture them all frantically like running to like her. I say corpse, but there was no corpse.
I could just like all of them should have been on their knees.
Yeah.
All of them should have been on their knees, or all of them should have tried to attack Rita while she made her escape, and that's why she escaped. You killed Trini, you bitch, or whatever. I know they probably couldn't say that, but like, oh my God, you killed Trini. And then all of them pull out their weapons and try to like, you know, fire on her to end her for killing. Yeah. And then she escapes. But she blows her up, and then Rita's like, yeah, I'll be back for my revenge. I'm like, motherfucker, you just killed her. You're coming back for your revenge?
Yeah, she didn't even sell it that hard.
No.
She was just like, well, I guess I killed the yellow one.
Well, I guess I'm done. I'm going to come back later for more revenge.
I'll kill the rest of you later.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah. I'm like, and isn't the Rangers now the ones that are going to have to get revenge? Because, like, you know, come on. Yeah. So there was just some weird, I'm like, what?
It definitely didn't feel like what it was set out to feel like.
And people always give the 2017 movie shit, but I'm telling you, out of all the Ranger stuff, from an acting standpoint and a story standpoint, like the suits were awful. Goldar was awful, but Rita was perfect.
Yeah, she was fun.
The Zords were pretty garbage, but Alpha was good, Zordon was good, the putties were good.
Yeah.
The actors, the actual core team was brilliant.
They were actually... I feel like that the 2017 movie was very, very 2017.
That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, but like that's like very Twilight-esque.
Twilight came out 10 years before that.
Well, it felt like Twilight with Power Rangers.
Really? Yeah. Nah, see, I just feel like if they would have just done an armored version of the original suits, and the Zords looked more like the dinosaurs they were supposed to do,
instead of like,
I think it's the aesthetics. I think it turned people off.
Yeah.
I think it turned people off.
The aesthetics, it definitely didn't sell any toys because they were so ugly.
And that's why it didn't get a sequel.
You got to think, man, they made these models. And the first thing I thought of looking at those, I'm like, those will be some ugly fucking toys.
And they were.
Because they were less detailed.
Yep.
And they were just ugly. They had the silhouette, but like none of the fine detail, like not that I even liked it. the fine detail, but it was like they just look like blobs of like plastic.
They did, and I mean, again, I think that's what really kept the movie from being more marketable was the fact that they disassociated the look from the brand. You're calling it Power Rangers. You're still keeping with, you know, Zach, Kimberly, Trini, Billy, and Jason, and their color schemes, but you're not. You're taking it to such a different character look.
Like like
they all looked like Iron Man. They look like different colored Iron Man.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. That's what I mean by 2007.
Yeah, they had like the arc reactor looking thing, and then they had like all, you know, a 6-legged mastodon and stuff. Like what the hell? So it's like,
did it have 6 legs?
Yeah, the Triceratops did too. Like they all had like this weird shit, man.
The ending was just like a long blur to me because I was so fed up with the movie by that point. I was just like, ugh.
No, see, I loved it. So I think I've seen it several times. I really enjoy watching it every time. I do actually feel like they did a great job of portraying emotion. But you know, anyway.
I'm not talking about the actors. I don't think any of the actors necessarily did something. I don't know. I think it's just really not my kind of movie.
Oh, I get it. To me, it was like the Goonies. Like it had like a very coming of age Goonies kind of.
Oh, I love Goonies though.
Well, yeah, you like everything retro.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, you looking around your room to see if you can find something.
What do I?
Yeah, why would you have something up in your room that you don't like?
I'm not a huge fan of Garfield, but I have a Garfield.
I love Garfield.
So anyway, if you guys watched Power Rangers Once and Always and enjoyed it, let me know in the comments.
Or if you shared some of our views and weren't just a blatant like, oh, I'm a fanboy, so I have to love everything.
If you were unsatisfied with it,
share those feelings too. Yeah. Let us not be the only two people that were like, man, I'm really excited for this, but holy shit, am I disappointed?
Yeah. Like you mentioned earlier, if you liked it, you liked it.
Yeah.
But man.
And I'm happy if you did, really.
Yeah. Think about it this way. If they do make a sequel, which, you know, that's like rumored on all these YouTube sites are like, ooh, is there a sequel possible?
Power Rangers Twice and Always.
Twice and Always. If there is a rumored sequel, you can make the sequel better by actually having an opinion.
This is the truth. Are we continuing to talk, or are we wrapping this up?
I think we're about done. Thank you for watching.
Appreciate you. Click like and subscribe and all that jazz. And do that. And don't hate us for having our own opinion.
And we will love you more if you have an opinion.
Yeah, and I don't care. And you know what? I respect whatever your opinion is, 100%. But don't hate us for having ours, I hope.
Or do hate us, and then but be respectable about it.
I guess so. Yeah. I guess there's that too.
You piece of
shit. Haters gonna hate.